一些就跑了。哇，第一次来真的超兴奋的。本来以为先去日本的大阪呢，想要第一次来就先来到加州的环球。但会不会以后其他地方都弱掉？应该是相对弱掉。
If you need any kind of guest assistance, do not jump off of the tram. This is unsafe for you.
Johan's here. He's going to be driving. Head on out. So everyone, lock and load to the left-hand side. Raise your arm and wave a goodbye to everybody. Bye-bye.
Yeah,
see you later. The driver's name is Johan, but there's one more person we need to introduce. He's the current host of The Tonight Show starring Jimmy Fallon. It's Jimmy Fallon.
没有关系，大概听就简单，英文就懂了。然后听到这一段都是一个小。
Universal Studio Tour.
好，那我们就开始，大家一起来看。
You got the very best guide.
Joy.
And the greatest driver.
Johan.
You're the best. I love it. Even though
Joy.
owes me $5. I know you guys are excited to get on the tour, but first, a few safety rules.
That's right, we do have a few safety rules to go over. First and foremost, everyone please remain seated whenever this tram is in motion. Also, please keep all arms, legs, accessories, cell phones, selfie sticks, cameras inside the vehicle. We do have these large, lovely tram windows for you to look at it, but please, no selfies with your arm out the window, because I don't want you to drop any of your items. But hey, say something accidentally does fly out the window, or if you have a sound or video issue with your TV screens, or if you have a medical emergency of any kind, just pull the red cord that runs along the center of the tram right above you. Pull that down and I'll be back to assist you as soon as it's safe to do so. There is no smoking of any kind on this tour. And finally, we do have several water effects. Now, like I said, you're going to want to have those cameras ready for some great photo opportunities, but just keep an eye on them so they don't get wet. But don't worry, you'll only get wet if you're sitting in a blue seat, okay? A blue seat. Made you look. They're all blue seats except for mine. Alright, we've officially left Universal Studios, the theme park behind, and entered the actual working movie and TV studio. As we make our way down the Universal movie timeline, you're going to notice to the right and left-hand sides of the tram just a few of the thousands of films we've made here. But we don't just make movies, no, we also make TV shows, commercials, music videos, student films, you name it, we do it every single day. We're darn proud of it. Because here at Universal Studios, we're a part of Universal City, a real city. We have our own zip code. We have our own honorary mayor. We even have our own fire station, which is on the right-hand side. This is Fire Station 51. This is a real fire station. They are not a set. These are the first responders here at Universal Studios. Now, Fire Station 51 is named after a famous TV fire station from the television show Emergency, with an exclamation point. That was a show back in the 70s, produced by a man named Dick Wolf. He is also the producer of the Law and Order series. Same guy. He's also the producer of the Chicago series, like Chicago Med, Chicago PD, and Chicago Fire. Their fire station is also an Easter egg. It's something that filmmakers will hide in movies and TV shows for audience members.
还有汉尼拔食人魔，还有美丽境界，我都知道。啊，旁边，他就在那一边，基本上每一部我都看过。NBC's singing competition, The Voice, hosted by Carson Daly. I love The Voice, especially because Jennifer Hudson is a coach and she's one of my favorite singers. But I have to say, Soundstage 12 is very famous. It's been used for a lot of productions, just like the ones on your screen. 没有，这只是说告诉你说这一到年代，刚变形金刚在那里啊，其实也没有很远呢。 Now, sound stages are called that because they literally control the sound. Once the doors on these big buildings close, they become about 98% soundproof. Their walls are insulated with something called Insaquilt, making the walls about 4 times thicker than your average home. And the reason is, when they're given Oscar-worthy speeches in there, they don't want to hear our trams and trucks driving by. They want to have as much control over the audio as possible. It's one of the most important components of filmmaking. Now, we're passing sound stages 16, 17, and right across the way is soundstage 21. Each of those sound stages are being used for the same TV show, Superstore, starring America Ferrera and Ben Feldman on NBC.
Now I will say Soundstage 21 is my favorite soundstage because a lot of my favorite movies filmed in there, including Apollo 13, Jaws, and Jurassic Park. Where are my Jurassic Park fans at? Let me see you. Yeah, me too. Now, Soundstage 21's also been home to an amazing TV show called The Mindy Project, starring Miss Mindy Kaling. Now, she didn't just star in that, no, she also wrote, directed, produced, and did everything else on that show because she is an absolute powerhouse. Now, she did a lot of that work here in the front lot because this is where we do a lot of the pre- and post-production. Now, pre-production means everything that happens before filming, like the writing of the script, the building of the sets, and post-production is everything that happens after filming, like the editing or the sound mixing. Production is the actual filming portion, and that takes the least amount of time when it comes to making TV shows and movies. Yeah. On the right-hand side, you see some more sound stages. Sound stages 41 and 42, which are being used for the TV show Good Girls, starring Christina Hendricks, Retta, and Mae West. And on the left-hand side, you're going to see where we build the sets for our sound stages. This is one of our mills. We build our sets in here, then we'll paint them in the Bud Westmore building around the corner. Then after that, we roll them on in to the right-hand side sound stages. And take a look at those minions in front of the Illumination Entertainment side. Illumination Entertainment has brought you such films as Despicable Me, Hop, The Lorax, The Secret Life of Pets 1 and 2, as well as Sing. Also on the right, you're going to see Soundstage 44, my favorite TV show films in there, which is The Good Place, starring Ted Danson and Kristen Bell on NBC. If you haven't seen this show yet, make sure you do. It truly is the funniest comedy on TV right now. You can watch it all on NBC.com. Also, over on the left-hand side, that's Ted the Teddy Bear, giving a nice little cheers to the Universal Tour. Kids, that's lemonade. Alright, now Ted is currently standing in front of our production bungalows. These bungalows used to be dressing rooms for some of Hollywood's hottest stars, including Rock Hudson, Doris Day, Jimmy Stewart, and everybody's favorite redhead, Lucille Ball. But these are no longer dressing rooms, however, they are production offices for the top writers, directors, and producers in town. In fact, we just passed Mr. Robert Zemeckis' office. He's one of my favorite directors because he directed my favorite movie, Back to the Future, which just celebrated its 33rd birthday on July 3rd. Can you believe that? They grow up so fast. Now these bungalows, like I said, they used to be dressing rooms. Actors used to live in these bungalows because they were contracted to the studio. So they would only film Universal Pictures and therefore need to spend a lot of time here. Our most famous one is number 5195. It has a silhouette right next to the number. That silhouette shows that bungalow used to belong to none other than Sir Alfred Hitchcock, the amazing director of such films as Psycho, Rear Window, Vertigo, and The Birds. Now as you drive on out of the bungalows, you're going to see some big gray buildings here. These are two brand new state-of-the-art sound stages. They are 100% soundproof, and there's editing bays right inside. Therefore, film gets edited a lot faster than it ever has before. Inside of Soundstage 22 is a fantastic show back on the air, Will and Grace, with Megan Mullally, Sean Hayes, Eric McCormick, and Deborah Messing on NBC. But we have now just officially left the front lot behind and entered the back lot. Now this is where we shoot the big stuff, people. Speaking of which, on the right-hand side, you're going to see a large mural with buildings. They're digitally put together from Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York to make a generic cityscape. It's appropriate we have that here because we are about to enter our metropolitan sets. Now these buildings may look real, but guess what? Oh? They're not. They're made out of plastic, plaster, and plywood. Why? Because they're much more pliable. There's the 4 plus of set design. In case we ever want to tear one of these buildings down or build one right back up, we can do it easily and cost effectively with those materials. On the right is Brownstone Street. See those stairs? They might look familiar to you from a scene in Bruce Almighty.
Grace the dog!
I'm in the shower!
真假的？
It's like that.
哦，楚门的世界啊！对啊
Oh, you're done now. Great.
这边是《楚门的世界》拍摄的这个场景。
It is indeed, Bruce. It is indeed. And now, everyone, we're leaving Brownstone Street to go to my favorite area of the lot. I know it as Courthouse Square, but you might know it as Hill Valley from Back to the Future. On the right-hand side, this gas station, this is where Marty McFly met George McFly back in 1955. On the left-hand side, you will see the famous clock tower that got struck by lightning, sending 1.21 gigawatts of power into the flux capacitor. Now, I know it looks a little different than it did in the movie. That's because there is a facade in front of it. Now, a facade is a French term meaning false front, where we build only the fronts and the sides of buildings, and your imagination fills in the rest. The reason we did that to the original clock tower was because filmmakers realized it was too recognizable to be used in future productions. Therefore, they put this generic city hall here, and recently, you've seen this in Hairspray Live with Kristen Chenoweth, Jennifer Hudson, and Ariana Grande. This area was here long before Back to the Future, however. This is where the very first episode of The Twilight Zone ever filmed. It's also where Boo Radley was defended by Atticus Finch on those steps in To Kill a Mockingbird, starring Gregory Peck. But as we wave goodbye,
可是它里面真正看它里面都是空的，然后很多电影都在这边拍，这看起来是真的，其实里面全部都是假的，泡棉啊、甲板啊搭出来的。
I got my start right here in New York on Saturday Night Live. This is actually my old neighborhood. Once got mugged over there. An old woman, tough lady. This is my favorite hot dog guy. Hey, buddy, how's it going? Remember me? No. Just like old times. Gotta love New York City. Hey, I'm walking here. Hey, it's cool, guys. I was just walking there. So it's not exactly New York, but a lot of times when you see New York in the movies, it was shot right here on the Universal Metro sets. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. Even if you make it here on the Universal lot.
You've seen these metropolitan sets a ton. In fact, if you're a fan of American Ninja Warrior, you're a fan of these streets because that's where they have their LA finals. Also, superheroes like Captain America, the First Avenger, as well as both Spider-Men have walked these various streets, including Andrew Garfield and Tobey Maguire. But you know what? We're going to take you somewhere else now. We're going to take you to the jungle. In fact, Peter Jackson, Academy Award-winning director, sure knows a lot about it. Peter?
It's the original King Kong that made me want to direct movies.
好，这边是金刚的拍片的一个场景介绍。
About 8 or 9 years old, and
他其实走在每一个地方都会有告诉你说那个地方是过去拍过什么样的电影。
Real life and sweep you up an adventure. Kong literally does that. I mean, you're on board the ship, you're sailing to a lost island, you're encountering monsters and creatures from prehistoric times. So I was thrilled when Universal invited me back to Skull Island, and it's great to have you along for the ride. Now we have created this 3D immersive experience, so you're going to have your glasses ready.
好，我们现在戴 3D 眼镜了。
Just have them in your hand because we're about to return to Skull Island.
That's right, we are about to return to Skull Island. Let me tell you, it's going to be a bumpy ride, so please remain seated and hold on to all loose articles. Also, you wouldn't take a camera into a 3D movie and start snapping pictures with a flash on, right? Of course not, because that would be very distracting for everyone. So please, put away all cameras and no flash photography. If you see a flash on your neighbor's phone, kindly remind them to please turn it off. And in the meantime, let's find out a little bit more about Skull Island and King Kong.
The Universal tram is winding its way through a very rough, narrow trail in Skull Island, allowing the visitors a little sneak peek at some of the wildlife of Skull Island. In a sense, this is like a mini sequel, a mini continuation. We're just taking the Kong and Skull Island and the dinosaurs that we established in our feature film, and this is another day, another incident on Skull Island, using the creatures and the character and personality of Kong as he appeared in the movie.
好，现在我们再看戴上眼镜，这边是有3D 的，所以说影片当然是不会有3D 的。哦。不会啊！哇哇哇！哦，那边也有。它车子会晃动，就很身临其境。
just showed you the second most intense 3D experience in the world. In just a little while, we're going to show you the first. Now, what you just saw was the result of 6 different IMAX movie screens. The brilliant minds over at Weta Digital created that performance. They won 6 Academy Awards, of course for King Kong, also for the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogies, for Avatar and Disney's live-action Jungle Book. Those screens are about 40 feet tall and 180 feet wide, completely encapsulating you, helping King Kong save us from those terrifying T-Rexes. Thanks, King Kong.
With a project like the studio tour, the audience is in the middle of the environment. They're looking in all directions, there's creatures coming at them, they're seeing Kong from this side and T-Rexes from the other side.
Working on a movie, we always know where the people are looking. They're looking straight ahead, they're looking at the shot that we're working on.
Here you have to take into account that people are looking in all directions.
Also, one of the things about this ride, unlike the movies that we're used to working on, there's no cuts, because it's one giant shot. This tram that's driving along through Skull Island is where the camera's from. This ring represents where the screen is 10 meters away.
We're really creating about 50 minutes of a feature film. That amount of visual information, that number of pixels, and presenting them to the audience, it's a hell of a ride.
During that experience, you probably noticed that one of our tram cars got pulled on screen by that big T-Rex. When that happened, that immediately turned this tram into a picture car. Now, a picture car is any vehicle you see on screen, maybe plane, train, or automobile. And luckily for all of you, we got some of our most famous picture cars coming up. So get those cameras ready, but please remain seated as we make our way through the Universal Studios picture car display. First up on the left-hand side, you will see Kit from the recent revival of Knight Rider. He's awake and ready to say hello. Hello, studio tour. See? Next up is the Magnum PI Ferrari. Don't be fooled though, not a real Ferrari, just a Volkswagen engine with the Ferrari fiberglass shell on top of it. Followed by Biff's car from Back to the Future. The one got covered in manure, and Biff hates manure. Followed by the Back to the Future 2 flying cars, the Flintstones foot-powered vehicles. And you can't talk about picture cars without talking about the Fast and the Furious, the most successful franchise in Universal history. Followed by the Gyrosphere from Jurassic World. Now, anyone know what's missing from the Gyrosphere? Huh? It's the glass. There was never any glass on that Gyrosphere to begin with. The reason is, glass is a reflective surface. If we had the camera pointed at real glass, it would pick up the camera, as well as all the lights and the crew in the reflection. Therefore, we digitally added in all the glass afterwards using CGI, computer-generated imagery. Now, I do love Jurassic World because I love Jurassic Park, so much so that I'm going to take you through the original set pieces from Jurassic Park and the Lost World Jurassic Park. So welcome to Jurassic Park. Just me? Okay. We'll take a look all over. On your left-hand side, you'll see a big blue metal cage, but it's actually made out of plywood, just painted to look like metal. Also on the left-hand side, you'll see the InGen Mobile Lab. In there, they have a full interior, very convenient for filmmaking. We also have the original dinosaurs. Wait a minute. They're out of their cages. Oh no! That wasn't water those Dilophosauri were spitting at me. It was just acid. I'm just kidding. Of course it was water. We love water effects. We love all sorts of effects. In fact, we're doing one right now on the left-hand side. Do you see it? Do you see it? Well, good, because the best effects are the ones that you can't see. It's those trees. Those are not real. They are made out of foam, rubber, and plastic. The reason is the movie of Jurassic Park is based off of an island right off the coast of Costa Rica. However, we're not off the island of Costa Rica. We are in LA, so we have to make our own indigenous trees. You also might notice those trees aren't finished at the tops. That's because we only build what the camera is going to see. Why build it if you're not going to see it, right? Now, if you've also ever been to Costa Rica, you know they have a lot of rain. Here in sunny LA, it only rains about 40 days out of the entire year. Therefore, when our movies like Jurassic Park call for a little bit more weather, we have to simulate it ourselves. as we roll on down into Old Mexico, you have seen this area in movies such as The Three Amigos, starring Chevy Chase, Steve Martin, and Martin Short. Also TV shows like Criminal Minds, Beyond Borders, as well as The OC. Now, what's very cool about this area is that it's all rigged up to my keypad, so I can turn on some weather effects. And I think I want to make it rain here in Hollywood. So, as we come to a stop, I'm going to turn on the thunder and the lightning. Now, don't be alarmed. The thunder is just a sound effect. It's coming from speakers above us. The lightning that you're seeing, that's a strobe light flashing on and off and on and off. Now, if I want to make it rain, I have to cue up the rain. Is that going? Rain go? There we go. All right, now that is a sprinkler system shooting water up into the air and falling down naturally like real rain. The combination of the lighting and sound effects with the rain makes it pretty cool. Yeah. Well, that was really cool about this.
在外面下雨，就在洒水。还可以闪电，也可以关掉。
Oh, that was weird. I said I could turn them all off. Off. Sorry, everybody. Technical difficulties. It's not turning up. Does anybody hear a rumbling sound? My goodness, it's a flash flood! Everybody take cover! All right, everyone. Take a seat. Take a seat. I was just playing a little joke on you. I'm not actually controlling the rain. No, that was the result of thousands of gallons of recycled water being released down the hill, and it's going to go right back up our drain pipes for the next tram. You saw those very effects in the movie Big Fat Liar, starring, Paul Giamatti, Frankie Muniz, and Amanda Bynes. You cannot run the wall, kid! You know, most of you got that. Don't worry, Paul Giamatti was fine. That was his stunt double in the water. But you know who didn't have a stunt double in that flash flood? Lady Gaga. She danced there in 6-inch high heel pumps for her music video, Judas. They offered her a stand and she was like, "Nah, I got this." Not too shabby. But now we're rolling on into the Old West. Welcome to 6 Points, Texas, y'all. 6 Points actually got its name because back in the early days of filmmaking, there used to be 6 different streets that all coincided with this one. Each street had its own bank, saloon, and jail, and we could shoot 6 different westerns at the same time. At the same time, yes, because these were the days of the silent film era where films were not affected by sound. In fact, the creator of Universal Studios, his name was Carl Laemmle. He would charge people only 25 cents to come and watch a Western being made. They could root for the good guys, boo for the bad guys, and get a boxed lunch out of the deal. Not too shabby for 25 cents. Now, if you look at these windows here, you might notice that there's a lot of curtains. The reason we do that is because we're hiding the fact that there's nothing behind them. Just like the courthouse, these are facades, just the fronts and sides of buildings. If you look on your left-hand side, you might notice that the building is unfinished right over there. Yeah, as we turn on out, you're going to see that in just a moment. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we are about halfway through our tour. So I just wanted to remind you all that in case you need me for any reason, if you drop something off the side of the tram, have a sound or video issue with your screens, or if you have a medical emergency, just remember to pull that red cord and I'd be happy to help, all right? Now on the left-hand side, you are seeing a large body of water. This is known as Park Lake. Park Lake is also known as the Black Lagoon, from where the creature of the Black Lagoon still lives to this day. I could be more dramatic if you'd like. Yes, the creature of the Black Lagoon is one of my favorite Universal monsters, and we've had a lot of different monsters over there as well. In fact, Psycho, that's where Norman Bates dumped all the bodies of his victims, and that's where they fished them out in Psycho 2. As we drive on up on the left-hand side, you can also see a lot of satellites. These are real satellites, they are not set pieces. It's how we transmit NBC Nightly News as well as Telemundo to the entire country. But we're going to head outside the country as we head to one of my favorite areas on the lot. Welcome and bienvenue to France. Ooh la la, welcome to France. Bonjour, hello, salut. Or this could be Italy. Italy, bene, bellissima. Much better. Or this could be Belgium. Yay, Belgium! Yes, this area is known as Little Europe. It could be any European city or country we need it to be. All we gotta do is change the signs and languages on the doors and windows, add a little bit of set dressing, and boom, any part of Europe we need to be. However, if you've been noticing the signs and windows on these doors out, you might notice that we're not in Europe, but we're in the afterlife on the set of The Good Place, starring Ted Danson and Kristen Bell on NBC. Make sure to check that show out, it's fantastic.
But the reason I love Little Europe is not only for the good place, but because this is where the monster movie was born. Countless monsters like Count Dracula, the Wolfman, the Invisible Man, Frankenstein's monster all walk these very streets. Now on the right-hand side, this is known as the Court of Miracles. The Court of Miracles got its name for a couple of reasons. Because of Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces. He started right there back in 1918 as the Hunchback of Notre Dame, and all the gypsies lived in the Court of Miracles. Also, the reason was because a couple of years later, Lon Chaney started there again as the title character, the Miracle Man. So that area is pretty miraculous, if I do say so myself. Now, I do love the dedication our monsters had to their characters. Boris Karloff was the man who played Frankenstein's monster. He would sit in the makeup chair for 6 hours every single morning, putting on all that makeup and costume, and it weighed about 50 pounds on him every day throughout filming. At the end of filming Frankenstein, he was 20 pounds lighter. So in case you're looking for one of those crazy Hollywood diets, you know, just wear Frankenstein's monster's makeup every day. Now, on the left-hand side, you see these gray buildings over here. You probably saw that picket fence in that house. That's where we film and edit the TV show Home and Family. You can watch that on the Hallmark Channel. They film Monday through Friday, and they edit the show Monday through Friday because they have to send it out to be aired. Now, the reason we're hanging out right now is because we're about to go inside of Soundstage 50. Now, this is the only soundstage on the back lot that you could actually drive through, and they're letting us come in here today, even though tomorrow they're going to be filming in here for a big-budget motion picture comedy. And you know me, I love jokes, so I'm a big fan of this comedy. Now, when we go inside, we must ask everyone, please remain seated and do not touch anything while we are inside, okay? Because this is known as a hot set, meaning it's dressed and ready for filming, and we are invited guests, and we don't want to mess anything up, okay? So just stay in your seats, everybody. Now, as we drive on in, you will notice that this whole area is meant to look like an underground subway station. But just like Little Europe, it can be any subway station in the world. It currently is San Francisco, but it's also been New York, Chicago, Washington, D.C. It could be even Tokyo or Paris, anywhere in the world.
Oh.
Now, because this is for a comedy, how about we have a little bit of fun and pretend that we are in a comedy, okay? I'll be your director. When I call action, I want everyone to burst into crazy laughter, okay? Get ready. Lights, camera, action! Oh, more energy from the front car, more energy. Ha 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 ha! Yeah, there we go. That's whoa, whoa. Ladies and gentlemen, I was wrong. This isn't a comedy. It's a disaster movie. Uh-oh. It's gonna get a little bit bumpy in here. You know what? You're still not acting. On the count of three, I want everybody to scream. 1, 2, 3. Oh, that was good. I think we got it. Oh my goodness, the roof is on fire! Oh look, the floor is lit. You're just that flash flood right about now, aren't you? Well, if this dude
水下来了，又来了，哇！哇！哇！
Don't worry, all those actors were fine because they were sitting on a sound stage. It was the camera moving like this and they had to react as if they were in peril. But you know, we've dealt with a lot today. Flash floods, dinosaurs, earthquakes. Let's take a vacation to the beach. My favorite beach, known as Amity Island. It's my favorite because this is where
boyfriend works. My boyfriend, his name is George. He's in the water right now. Let's see if we can get him out to say hello. Everyone say, hi, George.
Hi, George.
Yeah, he's going to love that. He loves surprises. And we are crossing the dock right now, so everyone just stay in your seats, all right? Now, who was that? Is that a dolphin?
Oh.
It's a shark? Oh my goodness. George, honey, get out of the water, babe. Oh. George, sweetie, get it. George! Oh, George, no! Oh, George, no, my love! Oh, George, mi amor! Okay, I'm over it. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be fine. There's plenty more fish in the sea, all right? But you know what? We're gonna catch that shark. You know what? There's some bait attached to that yellow barrel. Everybody say, take the bait. Take the bait. Nobody said it. That's not good. No one's... Uh-oh. Now he's taking the pier. He's mad. Okay, you know what? We're gonna get out of here. Wait, is that the gas line going off? That can't be good. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna get out of here. Johan, why aren't we leaving? What's going on, Johan? We gotta get out of here. I just broke up with my boyfriend.
Oh,
Ladies and gentlemen, we just survived a shark attack! Yay! Alright, quick trivia question for everybody on board. Who here knows what kind of shark it was in the film Jaws? Just shout it out. Great white? Wrong! It was a mechanical shark, but thank you for playing. Very close if you said great white. You were this close. Now that shark was actually tested to be used in fresh water. However, on the very first day of filming, it actually sunk to the bottom of the Atlantic Ocean because they didn't realize that salt water was going to corrode the mechanics. There were so many issues with the mechanical shark, they nicknamed the entire production Flaws. Yeah. Also, the shark, his name is not actually Jaws. No, his name is Bruce. He was nicknamed after Steven Spielberg's lawyer. True story. And if you're a fan of Pixar's Finding Nemo, you know the vegetarian shark in that movie is also named Bruce. They were paying a tribute to Steven Spielberg and his incredible film. And this movie was the very first summer blockbuster there ever was. The movie was supposed to be released Christmas of 1974, but because of the issues with the shark, production was pushed back 100 days, releasing it the summer of 1975. The reason it's called a blockbuster is because the movie got so popular, people lined up around the block to see it. And there were so many people that the concrete couldn't support the weight. So the block actually busted. That's where we get the term. Not the first time Steven Spielberg changed up the industry. We have the PG-13 rating because of him. Because of Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, the sequel to Raiders of the Lost Ark. Now, the Temple of Doom was seen as so scary, they wanted to give it an R rating. But Steven Spielberg said, no, absolutely not. There's way too young of a following. So they created the PG-13 rating, allowing teenagers to go see the film, but if you were under the age of 13, you had to be accompanied by a parent. Now on the right-hand side, you are seeing our world-famous chicken ranch, originally built for the film The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, starring Dolly Parton. Also seen on the TV show Quantum Leap, starring Scott Bakula, and in the music video by LMFAO, Sorry for Party Rockin'. Across the street, you're going to see the tail end of our Colonial Street, or as you might know it as, Wisteria Lane from ABC's Desperate Housewives. Up the street they are filming for the TV show Abby's, a brand new comedy which I'm very happy about because my friend Kimmy Abapornia is one of the stars on the show, so make sure to check it out. She's hilarious. But Colonial Street is our residential street and it has been imagined in a ton of ways. Take a look. Look at the right and left-hand sides of the tram. You know in shows like CSI or Criminal Minds where they bury a dead body in the middle of the woods and they have to find it? This is where they find them. Yeah, we like to use every inch of our lot for filming. And as we turn the corner, we're going to go to one of the happiest places you know of. Yeah, that's right, we're headed to Whoville from Dr. Seuss's How the Grinch Stole Christmas. Get those cameras ready because the Whobilation is in full swing. Now this was one of the biggest productions on the Universal lot. It used about 2 million linear feet of foam rubber to construct all the sets, enough snow to fill about 9 football fields, and nearly 2,000 candy canes just for this one production. Also, all the snow came from a company called There's No Business Like Snow Business. Yeah,
It's a real company. I didn't make that up. They just love puns in Hollywood. And speaking of puns, these Who's had to deal with a lot worse than a Grinch. Their neighbor is a total psycho. That's right. We're headed to the Bates Motel from Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. There are 12 rooms and 12 vacancies here. Now this was one of the coolest productions they ever did. They used a lot of very interesting effects. For all of the blood in that movie, they actually used Hershey's chocolate syrup. The reason is the movie was filmed in black and white. And in black and white, chocolate syrup looks and tastes the same as blood. Or just looks the same, Now, as we drive on up this way, we're going to show you one of the oldest standing sets still in Hollywood today. That's right, we're going to the Psycho House. When you get up there, take a look in the second floor window and you'll see Mother Bates, and believe me, she is dying to meet you. She is dying to meet you. Oh, yeah. But let's leave that psychopath behind and enter a different path to Steven Spielberg's incredible crash site from War of the Worlds. On the left-hand side is a real 747 Boeing airplane that was both bought and destroyed for the film. Only purchased for about $60,000, which is really quite a steal for an entire airplane. However, the shipping and handling portions were a little bit more, about $200,000 more, and it was only seen on screen for less than 3 minutes.
The airplane crash site set is a perfect example of a set that is all designed around a vision that Steven had.
We forget to sit down to talk about the War of the World. I thought, what if the 747 goes down right in a big neighborhood? Because it's just something you don't see.
You're doing good. You're doing good. Keep listening. Listen, now listen, I want you to close your eyes, okay? Now close.
世界末日，世界大战。
Robbie, get in. Get in.
Now this area was not only seen on the War of the Worlds, but also on America's Next Top Model. All the models dressed up as zombies, and they had a whole photo shoot right there among the wreckage. Also seen on the TV show Community, starring Joel McHale, and on Netflix's Love Season 2. Now, everyone, just want to let you know we're about 10 minutes from the end of our tour, so in case you need me for any reason at all, just a reminder, pull that red cord, but please remain seated. Now, a little bit more about that area over there. It's a pretty big plane crash, right? Up above in the hills, there are actual houses where people live in, the Hollywood Hills, so to speak. Now, the thing about that is Steven Spielberg didn't want anybody knowing what was going on while he was filming this. So what they did is he paid for all of the people in those houses to go on a 2-week paid cruise vacation. And when they got back, there was an airplane crash in their backyard. Ooh, yes. Another cool thing about that is the way that they transported that is they went to an airplane graveyard in the Mojave Desert. Now, they couldn't just bring an entire airplane over here because once airplanes reach a certain number of miles, they are then retired. That's just for safety. So they're put into an airplane graveyard. So what they had to do is they had to chop that airplane into 4 separate pieces. The first 3 pieces they drove in on big flatbed trucks over the freeways at like 2 a.m. when there was no one on the freeway. But that last piece, the tail, is too tall for those freeways. So what they had to do is they hooked it up to wires and they flew it in. Speaking of flying, we're right next door to the Burbank Airport, the Bob Hope Airport. When this was here, planes were flying by and they saw this and they were going, Mayday, Mayday, there's a plane crash over at Universal Studios. And we had to go, no, it's fake, it's just a joke, it's just for the movies. Oh, Steven Spielberg, he's amazing. We're actually sitting right now on Steven Spielberg Drive. Every different street here that we've been driving on today is named after a famous person who's given a lot to the film industry. Steven Spielberg, of course, being one of the biggest names in directorial history. He's actually perpendicular with this street right over here, which is John Williams Drive. And I gotta say, I love me some John Williams. He is an amazing conductor and composer of a lot of famous scores that I'm sure you know of, including E.T., The Extraterrestrial, Jaws, Indiana Jones, Star Wars, the Olympics. He's pretty incredible. A very interesting fact about him is that he writes all of his all of his arrangements in the key of C. The reason is our brains, strangely enough, are wired to recognize middle C before any other note. Therefore, when he writes everything in the key of C, it stays in our brains a little longer. He's a pretty genius dude, if I do say so myself. Now, over on the right-hand side, you're seeing probably some trees and a little bit of this cabin over here. This cabin was originally built for the film The Great Outdoors, starring the late, great John Candy. Now, that's known as a practical set. Earlier, I was telling you about facades, just the fronts and sides of buildings. Practical sets are the opposite way. They have a full interior, which makes it very practical for filming. You can film on the inside and the outside. This area was also seen on Desperate Housewives, where the women just went to get away from their everyday lives, even though they live right down Steven Spielberg Drive. Now, we're sitting here for just a little bit because we've got a little tram traffic, so to speak. But I do love Steven Spielberg and all the things that he has done for us. Now, he is a very interesting and heartfelt director. One of my favorite movies of all time is E.T. the Extraterrestrial. Now, you may or may not know, E.T. was a series of puppets and costumes where they would put E.T. in, they would just kind of make some kind of Jim Henson-style magic happen. Now, there were so many puppets, but Steven Spielberg wanted to make the last scene of that movie very important. So the way he filmed it was in sequential order, meaning scene 1, scene 2, scene 3, scene 4, etc. Usually movies don't do that. They do it based on location. So if scene 1 and scene 47 are right here at this plane crash, we're going to try to film that in the same day, same couple of days, try to get them out, and then it's the editor's job to put it all in order. Steven Spielberg, however, wanted the audience to really feel like they were growing up with E.T., just like the way Henry Thomas, the guy who played Elliot, did as well. So he filmed it in order. By the last scene, he told Henry Thomas that he was going to have all of those E.T. puppets destroyed, and he did, except for 2. One of which lives here on the property, and one of which lives with Steven Spielberg. Now, you can actually rent the one that is here on the property. However, you have to have a signed, written consent form by Steven Spielberg himself, allowing you to have it. And he doesn't say yes to just anybody. The reason he did that is because he wanted E.T. to go home. No more E.T.s on this planet, just up in space. Steven Spielberg really is kind of a brilliant, genius guy. I'm going to show you some of his most famous films. Take a look.
When I was about, 16 years old, and I began hanging out at Universal during my summers. When I went to college nearby, I continued to come on the lot and try to become a director. So Universal sort of is my birthplace. This is the place I consider my first home, and I love it here, and I keep coming back.
So he never actually went to film school, but what he would do is, back in the old days, in like the 60s, 70s, when, security was a little more lax here on the property, he actually snuck onto the property. He first got a little, so to speak, internship on a movie where he got a 3-day pass to come onto the property. But he was very good at networking, so he met the security guys and was friends with them. So after that 3-day pass was over, he just kept coming back onto the lot. And he was like, "Hey, security guy Joe, it's me, Steven." And they're like, "Hey, Steven." And they'd let him onto the property. So he kept coming back here, making connections. And that's what they say. It's not what you know, it's who you know, pretty much. And speaking of which, when he kept doing that, he met a man named Michael Crichton, who ended up being the writer of Jurassic Park. In fact, Jurassic Park was a ride concept before it was a movie concept. After Steven Spielberg did the E.T. movie and then it turned into a ride here, it's now where the Mummy ride is, he realized Jurassic Park would be an amazing ride for Universal Studios because it's about going to a theme park with dinosaurs. And then Universal was like, "Yeah, that's a great idea, but could you make a movie first? Because that's what we base our rides off of." And that's how the movie was born. All those connections. Now, of course, you all know that Jaws is where he got his first huge directorial debut, and they made a sequel for Jaws called Jaws 2: Jaws the Revenge. Now, that's actually what that blue wall in the distance was built for. Now, that blue wall is known as is the world's largest freestanding blue screen. Now I know you heard of a green screen before, right? Blue screens do the exact same thing. We put our actors in front of the blue screen, film whatever we gotta film, then afterwards in post-production, remember the editing phase, they'll digitally remove the blue and put in any background we want. Right below that blue screen is a large pit we call Falls Lake. You can fill Falls Lake up with water, fill it with sand, then we can make it look as if our actors are on the 7 Seas or maybe in the desert somewhere. We actually made it look as if it was the Hudson River for the movie Sully. Take a look.
Evacuate.
So you see the plane and the people and the water? They were all actually in that pit called Falls Lake. But now what I want you to look at is the background, the clouds, the buildings. Everything over there is the blue screen. Cool, right? Now I mentioned Jaws of the Revenge. Back in those days, they didn't have CGI or computer-generated imagery like we do today. So for that movie, they had to paint on the background by hand. And if you watch that movie, you'll notice that though it is beautiful, it does look strangely still, those clouds, as the water sloshes around. In fact, I was mentioning John Williams, the amazing composer and conductor. That was one of his first movies that he did for Steven Spielberg. After Steven Spielberg made the movie, he was like, John, I need something really good, really menacing for this shark. So John Williams watched the movie, then came back to Steven Spielberg and he said, okay, just bear with me. He sits down at his piano and he goes like this. Bam, 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 bam. And he does the whole theme. And Steven Spielberg's sitting there like, yeah, no, it's good, but that whole first part is just 2 notes. Come on, John, you're better than that. And then it became one of the most recognizable themes in all of Universal history. When you hear those 2 notes, you know a shark is not far away. Now, we've shown you how the movies get made, but now I want to take you right inside of one. Therefore, I called my friends over at the Fast and the Furious, and they said that they could hook us up. Now, take a look inside here. Look at that truck. It looks like it's smiling at us. Is that an armored vehicle? Love to have that on the 405 freeway during rush hour.
They just got here. All right, I got it. But listen, hello, beautiful people. Particularly you right there missing the 3rd row. How you doing? You good? My name is Roman Pierce. Pleased to meet you. My buddy Hobbs asked us to stash you from Shaw for a while. So we brought you in our secret spot. We're having a few friends over. It's a little messy, but it's all good. The more the merrier. Especially you right there in that 3rd row, like I was saying. So look, see over there? It's Hobbs' urban assault vehicle. Best truck the U.S. government can buy. But that work of art back over there was made by my man Tej. Think of it as like a Mona Lisa on wheels. Extra fly.
So did you break it down to them?
What's that?
You had one job to do, Roman, one. All right, look, guys, we're gonna keep Shaw from finding you, but to keep you safe, we need your help. We don't want the syndicate tracking us here, so put away your cameras and turn off your cell phones. One flash or one ringtone could give us away.
I need y'all to take this real serious.
Okay, pull into the next bay and we'll meet you in there.
So like I was saying, the 3rd row, right? I'm saying how much?
Alright, so like Letty and Roman just said, please put away all cameras and cell phones, and please no flash photography. If you see a flash on your neighbor's phone, kindly remind them to please turn it off, and of course remain seated. Now I noticed a few people already waiting to put those glasses on. You don't have to do that just yet. I'll let you know when you need it. Because right now, I want to take you to a party. Who wants to go to a party? Okay, that was pretty weak. Let's try again. I said, who wants to go to a party? Yeah. All right, here we go. Everybody put your hands up in the air. Everybody just don't care. Whoop, whoop.
Everybody out! The FBI! Turn that music off!
超像真的。
This is what we're doing. This is the race day after party, and where the other?
Roman Pierce, FBI, don't move.
Him?
That's right, party's over.
You know how long I took to iron this shirt, man? I'm not.
You're under arrest right now.
Ladies, just back up a little bit. Got it. It's lightweight. First of all, I don't work for you.
Oh, really? Well, tell me, Roman, who do you work for?
We don't work for nobody. I suggest you clear out of here, otherwise we can't guarantee your safety.
Guarantee my safety? I'm the one holding the gun.
Yeah, but mine's a whole lot bigger than yours. Escort this novice out. Let's go, Cookie Puss.
You got an ugly suit on, man. It's cheap.
Somebody out there really pissed off Shaw. It's gonna get ugly fast.
Yeah, don't worry. Lucky for you, our whole family will protect you.
Are you kidding me, Roman? You didn't shut off your phone, bro?
I gotta call you back. I'm in the middle of this.
See what I'm talking about?
Call you back.
Man.
It was on vibrate. Shaw traced us. House can't hold it forever. Letty, Roman, we're up. Driver, move that vehicle.
It's about to get real interesting. My Mona Lisa's all warmed up right next door.
Roman, grab your truck. I need you and Letty ready to roll.
Alright, now is the time to put those 3D glasses on. Put those 3D glasses on now. Just a reminder, please remain seated. We'll go into all loose articles and no flash photography.
这部分是3D 眼镜的画面，这份3D 画面。
Which one of you is the witness? Speak now, or you all get fried!
This is our turn.
After them!
Okay, guys, it's showtime. Over the left. This is the new ambassador. Roman, Lenny, hook him up. Now we're moving.
John, look out! You can be the witness to another we call it a day! The witness is mine, Letty!
How about you eat asphalt?
Don't think you're getting away! Go in the...
Way to go, Letty. Missile shot. Not gonna happen. Don't worry, I got this. Roman, don't shoot. Head on the bridge. Under construction. Hit the nitrous. Ride or die.
Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Fast and the Furious Supercharged!
Oh yeah, yeah.
They say the bigger the family, the stronger it is. You guys did good out there. And you're welcome to join our crew anytime.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that basically brings us to the end of our tour. Everybody go, aww. Aww. Well, don't worry, everybody. We're going to get going in just a few moments. But before we do, I need you all to burst into loud, uproarious applause for your incredible driver, Johan. Give it up for Johan, everybody. Without this guy, you'd be walking the entire tour. He's the best. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we do have a few announcements before we get going. To make sure you have the best day possible, just download the official Universal Studios Hollywood app. There you can check out wait times, show times, and get up-to-the-minute park information. For example, get show times for Waterworld, Alive, SeaWorld Spectacular, or confirm that the park does close today at 10 p.m.
Also, ladies and gentlemen, be a part of Hollywood's hottest and biggest New Year's Eve celebration at our Eve event, where you can party until 2 a.m. Fill your day with heart-pounding rides and attractions, and then keep the thrills going into the night with multiple party areas featuring a midnight firework countdown celebration. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I have had a wonderful time with you all today. I hope you have too. My name is Joy. I've been your guide today. If you have any questions for me, want to say hello or take a picture with me, I'll be right outside the tram once we unload. Thank you all so much and have a very happy New Year at Universal Studios Hollywood, the entertainment capital of LA. That's a wrap, everybody.